an owlbear.
Toddlers are easier to please than you lot.
You and I will have time aplenty to speak, but not tonight. This night is one of celebration. Enjoy it while you can.
Gods, what's that smell? Sulfur. Bizarre.
Ah, hells. I was hoping you wouldn't notice I was gone. Oh, the blade doesn't sulk. I was just reflecting on what has happened, and not wanting to be Mr. Serious at a celebration. I can say it even more nicely. I'm soberly pondering my state of affairs and not wishing to drag a single happy soul into a state of melancholy. I'm a devil. I love the people from the Grove, but I unsettle them deep down, as I seem to unsettle everyone nowadays. You don't want a devil at your party. Claws will pop the balloons, you see. And the sweet cakes don't taste half as good as raw eggs with this blasted forked tongue. Ouch. You don't need to mock me when I'm feeling low. But off with you. This is your day. Have a dance. Enjoy the music. Some time alone beneath the stars, and I'll be back to my old self. Promise. Still, it's a night to remember. You've made sure of that.
Fate spins along, as it should. Have you need of my services? A mending of the threads between life and death. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more. Very well. Indeed. Farewell.
Look at them all. Guzzling poison like we've the right to be happy. Not everyone. We lost people, and it's like they don't even care. But I care. And I won't drink myself into a stupor to change that. I won't be nursing their pounding heads and sick stomachs in the morning.
Think of it. No more caves, no more tents, no more running away. We'll be in a city with roads and markets and homes. Spilled my pints.
Well, not like you needed it.
Everyone seems to be in high spirits. Strange. You know who I never thought I'd find myself caring for? Exactly right. Never gave them much thought. Certainly not that bunch in the grove. Yet we came through for them. We saved their lives. Odd. Something like that. I was taught to reject anything that distracted from Shah. But there'll be time for penance later. Share a bottle with me? It's quite a bottle. I liberated one of the finer vintages earlier. Best enjoyed someplace private, I think. We should wait a little while. Until the others have drifted off. Best not keep me waiting. I'd prefer not to entertain myself.
Would you look at this place? All these people, happy because of us. It's nice to be somewhere where good is still possible. Speaking of, from where I'm standing, it looks like you and Shadowheart are getting more familiar. She's a funny one, all pointy and secretive, but it seems like there's someone very sweet beneath it all, you know? Good to see the two of you getting along anyway. At least one of us is getting a little action. Fuck yes! I'm celebrating my freedom, and our friendship, and these folks' bright future besides. All I need now is a fire-retardant lover to get lost in till sunrise.
Speaking of which, it's something I wanted to tell you. But there's something I think you should know. Hear that? Infernal engine for a heart. Lets me burn as hot as the hells. Seems to be running in overdrive since I left Avernus. It also means if I'm heated at all, excited, nervous, scared, I'm way too hot to touch. Won't be seeing my mechanic anytime soon, so I'm afraid I just can't get too close. High pain tolerance, and a dynamic duo of truly shitty bosses. But let's not get into tragic backstories now. It's such a beautiful night.
Not so much. You spend the whole time avoiding swords and schemes. Plus, people just get nastier as the night wears on. I tried to make friends at first. Learned my lesson fast. Better to keep to yourself in hell. You too, soldier. Enjoy yourself tonight. You've earned it.
You know, I never pictured myself as a hero. Never thought I'd be the one they'd toast for saving so many lives. And now that I'm here... I hate it. This is awful. True. That was fun. Still, I would have liked more for my trouble than a pat on the head and vinegar for wine.
It's a heavy, rich red. Dry and sharp.
See what I mean? Awful. All I want is a little fun. Is that so much to ask? Not at all. I was hoping for companionship. And, well, maybe a little death. Figuratively speaking. Not with you, just to be clear. I mean, can you imagine? Ugh, no. Anyway, don't let me keep you. I'm sure you have someone else to sniff around.
Are you planning to share the last of that wine?
Hope you're enjoying the night, hero. I certainly am. Cheers to many more like this. Go on. The others will kill me if I keep you all to myself.
I have seen the Kithraki tear a screaming Nyogi's legs from its belly to fashion into blades. Yet, they could not match your nerve today. It was enough to drive me to madness. A pity for us you have promised your night to the half-elf. I've no doubt you will satisfy your tastes for endless conversation. Vlaakith demands of me no less. If only I might lay claim to my proper trophy. Come morning, you will wonder. You will wonder how my lips might have tasted, how my fingers on your skin might have felt.
Oh, but do enjoy yourself this night. I intend to myself. Astarion looks particularly tempting.
You came through for us. That's a change from most adults I know. And that sounds like the wine drowning your wits. Go on, enjoy yourself. I've squirreled away a few extra bottles. When the barrel's tapped out, I'll be there to save the night. For a price, of course.
It's nice out here. Your own little patch of paradise. Mind the G-word. Every time you say goblin, you have to take a drink. Oh, wait. No. Bollocks.
To think you might have known paradise. Celebrate now. Come dawn, we depart.
This might be the wine talking, but I'm feeling inspired. Thinking of writing my next song about you. But I need an angle. Any ideas? Fitting. You're braver than half this camp combined. That deserves to be remembered. Your song was coming along. Then things began spinning. Worry not. I shall return to it at first light.
I hope you're not here to beg. It's so unbecoming. Funny, but unbecoming.
Have fun.
Go on now. Don't waste a night like this talking to me. We'll discuss your problem tomorrow. Later, perhaps. Don't worry about me. A night under the stars amidst nature's creation is just what I need after being locked up in the goblin's dungeon. Go on, enjoy yourself. Seek out some wine before it runs dry. There are a lot of thirsty people around here. Enjoy yourself tonight. I'll come and find you in the morning so we can talk.
Aha, there you are. Come now, settle in. I do hope you have partaken of something bracing. This may well take us all night. But I am engaged in celebration of the purest form. Commemoration. If we are to write your legend in the stars, then we must first give you a name. That ballad was but a crude preview, a frame without its crowning jewel, your nom de guerre. Something iconic, but not too much of a mouthful. We don't want to exclude the common folk after all. I intend this tale to enrapture all. A wonderful one indeed. But your deeds loom larger than life now, my friend. You simply must have a title to match. Far too much. This is the very problem. If you could set aside your many triumphs, carry out one defining act, not to belittle your achievements to date, of course, but besting a dragon, a giant, a god, perhaps. I must deliberate. Go, enjoy your evening. I shall have work for you in the days to come. Away and have your fun. I have a myth to make.
Beautiful night, don't you think? Nothing like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of a celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion. Though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone. Curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight. Oh, not everyone is comfortable being alone with their thoughts. Though I never felt alone with a book in my hand. Or with her for company. I speak of Tara, my Tresson, assistant, my constant companion through all the ills and tribulations my hubris has thrust upon me. She'd been most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently, after I was afflicted with my condition. And locked myself in my tower for an entire year. Inconsolable. Wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy. Given up on myself. But Tara never did. It was her encouragement. Her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve. Smart does her a disservice. She's a fine wizard in her own right, though somewhat held back by her lack of opposable thumbs. Remind me of her somewhat. There's a steeliness in you. An unwavering tenacity, even in the face of, to be frank, quite dire odds. Wish she were here for me to make a formal introduction. But I would never ask her to undertake such a journey. She's safer at home. Besides, she was always telling me I needed to spread my wings, so to speak. Find mortal friends instead of hanging onto Mistra's coattails. So that's what I'm doing. I hope. Sadly not. If I'm being entirely honest, my social circle is rather small. More of a dot. Or a pinhead. I've got acquaintances, certainly. Plenty of colleagues. Friends? Those are precious indeed. I hope, though we've only known each other for a short time, I might be able to count you among that number. Always bringing such candor to our conversations. Some would think twice about mocking Gale of Waterdeep, but you just go straight for the gut. I like that about you. It's one of your rarer qualities. Though I fear my ego can take no more of it tonight. Please, feel free to enjoy yourself elsewhere. No doubt there are others here who offer more welcome company. Don't let me drag you away. Enjoy yourself. You've earned a night of revelry.
Sherry! That's infernal for cheers. Or possibly turnip. Do devils even grow turnips? Can't all be souls and flesh of the damned.
I need to dance! No. No, I need to lie down. Lie down. Then dance.
Patience? Have you no respect for showmanship?
Having performance issues, Roland.
Hush you, and behold! Adoring applause? You're too kind.
Remember when he could barely cast that?
They grow up so fast.
Never have I met such troglodytes. Now, pass the wine.
Spilled my pipe. Are Roland and Leah actually getting along? I know you cut down a horde of goblins, but this is far more impressive. Elturel was the last time the three of us talked like this. Let's hope it lasts until Baldur's Gate.
Look at them. How happy they are. We did that. Yeah. Don't tell Roland, but his magic show might be the highlight. He's been doing them since we were little. He'll make it big in Baldur's Gate. I know it. Cheers to a night we won't remember.
An adoring crowd, fine wine. I dare say this place is almost civilized. As did I. But Leah and Cal were so excited for tonight, I thought it cruel to leave. Once my training with Leroican is complete, I'll put on a real show for them. I expect Leah and Cal to demand yet another showcase of prestidigitation, so I'd like a moment to myself.
You made it. Come here. Sit with me. Lots of people make promises. Few keep them. Well, to begin, I think a toast is in order. Any suggestions? Very practical. We could have toasted to that every night so far. Here's to many more. Survival. Now tell me something about yourself. And no tadpoles, dragons, marauding goblins, or anything like that. Something about you. Fishing for blackmail material, that's all. Go on. I insist. Seems like you truly know the city. I never got to explore it to my liking. Don't stop now. Not just as things are getting interesting. Don't laugh, but I'm not quite sure I have anything to share. When you worship Shard, secrecy is everything. We'll sacrifice our own memories when ordered to. A lot of the little things, they're lost to me right now. Perhaps. But please, enough about me. Sharing's bad for my complexion. There's still plenty of wine, and the whole night is ahead of us. Nearly light. The others will be awake soon. I suppose so. Celebration's over. Time to pick up the trail again. Thank you for last night. Well deserved, though. Oh. Yes. I suppose we'll have to. We should head back.
I trust you enjoyed your evening. After all your efforts, it was well deserved. It may be some time before you're afforded another such night. There is much to be done, and I promised I would help you however I could. I'm certain a cure for you can be found at Moonrise Towers, but it's complicated. The journey specifically, it's extremely perilous, though it seems you're well accustomed to navigating danger. Wait. There's more you need to know. To get to the towers, you'll need to pass through a terrible place. A cursed place. This curse shrouds everything in shadow. You will not find life, light, or anything natural there. Any who linger are twisted by the curse. They become shadow beings, tormented, dangerous souls. You could go overland, along the Risen Road or through the mountains. Easier at first, but you'll run into the Shadow Curse eventually. You could also go under. There is a tunnel somewhere in the ruined Temple of Selûne. It leads to Moonrise Towers through the Underdark. Long ago, a man called Ketheric Thorm built a secret stronghold deep down there, before rallying a whole army of Dark Justiciars, Shah worshippers.
Dark Justiciars. Must see for myself.
Aridin and his lot were looking for a way down there. They were promised riches if they retrieved a relic called the Night Song. But I think there's more. From this stronghold, Ketheric's forces could access both the Temple of Selûne and Moonrise Towers. But he was defeated before he could launch an attack. If you can find this place, I'll wager it will reveal a more direct path to Moonrise Towers. And maybe even bypass the worst of the Shadow Curse. You'll need to pick it up where Aridin left off. Find the hidden entrance. It's somewhere in the Temple of Selûne. The decision is yours, but I'd favor the Underdark. Even a place like that is the lesser evil compared to the shadow-cursed lands. Anything is preferable to risking the Shadow Curse. I would like to join your camp, if you'll allow me. I can offer my skills, my counsel. I've long sought to return to Moonrise Towers. It seems our fates have aligned. I've chosen a successor as first druid, Francesca of the High Forest. A bird's already been dispatched to summon her. I need her to stay focused on her training. The Grove will need a skilled healer in my absence. The Grove needs to move beyond the mistakes of the past. What it needs is an unknown quantity. An outsider who can enforce the Oakfather's teachings without bias. This is why I chose Francesca. She will restore simplicity and purity to the Grove in my absence. Contrary to how some think of us, we druids can play politics when necessary. Now, we've quite the journey ahead. Best get started.
Do not be so impatient to move on as Halsin. As ever, the Githyanki Kresh remains our priority.
Feeling illithid? I'll tell you all about it after we've taken down those paladins I'm after. Believe me, it's worth the wait. Gives me energy. Power. But you've seen it in action. Very hard to control. If I'm excited at all, angry, nervous, delighted, enticed, I burn hot. Hot enough to burn anyone who gets close. Agonizing. God's what I wouldn't give for a hug. A pat, anything. You've never met anyone so desperate for a hug as this one right here. Pathetic perhaps, but true. It's my lot to bear, and I bear it badly. Oh well, can't have it all, can you? Not today, at least. Hey, soldier. Trust me, I'll tell you all about it after we take care of the goons on my tail. Funny you should ask. I was just thinking about what would have become of us without that Nautiloid. I mean, I know where I'd be. Trapped in Avernus still, with the Blade of Frontiers on my tail. But what about you? Lucky you. Sometimes I think I'd be better off indulging in a bit of light oblivion. You may as well make some good memories mixed in with the body horror, huh?
All's well, I hope. No. I just wanted to see how you felt after the night we spent together. When we talked. I thought you were going to kiss me. I was almost sure of it. I hope so too. Though I'm not sure what kind of courtship will be afforded, given all that we're facing. But if you want to see where this goes, I do as well. Quite the understatement, but yes, I have it. And I'll guard it with my life. I was part of a group sent by my cloister. We were to take the artifact from the Githyanki and bring it to Baldur's Gate, no matter the cost. Though it turned out the cost was very steep. I was the only one of the group to survive. I took the artifact and fled, only to be ensnared by mind flayers before I could finish the mission. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. That's not a luxury open to many people, us included. I have my faith to turn to instead. You should find something of your own. The wound on my hand. It never quite heals. And sometimes it causes terrible pain to rip through me. It's my burden, though, from Lady Shah. I can feel her influence somehow. I'll try my best. Secrecy is ingrained in me. Lady Shah considers it greater protection than any shield or armor. It's difficult to say. Sometimes I wonder if it's supposed to be guiding me, punishing me, testing me. But perhaps it's none of those. Perhaps it's completely random. I'd like to hope there's more to it than that. Some meaning that Lady Shah will reveal to me when the time is right. Until then, all I can do is endure. I don't think so, but you're sweet to ask. Maybe just be patient the next time you see me wince or cry out. It'll pass quickly enough. It always does. Pain is sacred to followers of Lady Shah. Pain will give way to loss and then to the peace of her eternal darkness. You can tolerate a great deal of suffering so long as it has meaning. All that's happened. You have a talent for understatement, you know that? Specifics, please. I suppose we'd go our separate ways. Not a slight on your company, of course. Home. Baldur's Gate. There's someone waiting for me there. Someone I have to reach. As soon as possible. Thank you. And you're right. It's a delicate matter. Not something for light conversation. You're doing just fine. After all, I'd scarcely anticipated being courted while fighting for survival in the wilderness. I suppose some would commend our actions. Goblins would have razed that whole place to nothing if it weren't for us. No excuse to rest on our laurels, though. We've still got our own problems to contend with. On one hand, they seem useful. But on the other hand, or perhaps tentacle before long, we know where they're coming from, and what lies at the end of that path. I never expected Ceramorphosis to be tempting. I think we should resist these powers. There's simply too many unknowns for us to risk it. It's been known to happen.
Well, no tentacles yet. I suppose we can consider that a success. Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again. It's simple. Just find a vampire that will drink your blood and turn you into a vampire spawn. Their obedient puppet. In theory, the next step is to drink their blood. Once you've done that, you're free. And a true vampire. Yes and no. The problem is, once you're a vampire spawn, they completely control you. They have to allow you to bite them. And why would they do that? Vampires are power-hungry creatures. They won't lose a servant to create a competitor. Trust me, it doesn't happen. Excuse me? Not every monster hunter we stumble across is trying to kill me. Then again, we're not exactly keeping a low profile out here. Fine, I'll bite. What did he look like? A Gur? What are those vagabonds? Why would they... Cazador. Of course he'd send a Gur to hunt me down. Cazador Zar is a vampire lord in Baldur's Gate. The patriarch of his coven and a monster obsessed with power. He turned me nearly 200 years ago. I became his spawn. And he became my tormentor. First, they make excellent monster hunters, so find a vampire spawn sounds perfectly reasonable to them. Second, they're the reason I'm like this in the first place. It was a group of Gur that attacked me that night in Baldur's Gate. I would have died had Cazador not appeared and saved me. Well, he didn't mention the slave clause at the time. And now he sends a Gur monster hunter for me. It's a message. He's reminding me of his power. Even in the middle of nowhere, he reach me. And he wants me back. Maybe he wants to make an example of me, to show what happens to runaways. Or maybe he thinks death is too good for me. Aha! Safe! You think I'm safe? Do you know the power a vampire lord possesses? He can change shape, turn into mist, call walls to do his bidding, shrug off blows like they're nothing. He could walk into our camp tonight and kill you with his bare hands. And you'd be lucky if death was the worst thing that happened to you. First, we have to... I don't know. Well, if we kill his lackeys, he'll just send more. We just have to be vigilant, keep our wits about us, and kill any monster hunters on sight. Who knows? Drow? Mind flayers? Death? Hopefully not ours. But maybe answers, if we can convince the right people to talk. I won't lie. It's tempting. If I keep the tadpole, I risk transforming into a grotesque monster. If I lose the tadpole, Cazador has control of me, body and soul, and I return to the shadows. It's grim either way. So why not sell what's left of my soul to a devil? Better he has it than Cazador. Figuring out what's happening to us, confronting a god called the Absolute, and then finding time to kill my old master before he can control me once more? Yes, that's an option, but I wouldn't bet eternity on it. Sorry, but I prefer groups that are a little smaller, more intimate. Lose a follower or two, and I might consider it.
Danger! No good will come of devouring a gay worm, no matter what you might think. It is a certainty. I had assumed our parasites served a Geich elder, but I believe they serve a greater master still. A question that burns in my belly day and night. Elders and collectives abide by their own tenets. It would require a powerful creed to unite them. And now this voice, this creed, finds our own ears. If it reaches this plane, it may reach others. Mark my words, this power would be no blessing, but a curse. You might as well ask me to gouge out my eyes for the promise of sight, or slice off my tongue for the promise of taste. Consume all the gate tadpoles you wish. I'm not so craven.
Gladly.
Oakfather's blessings to you. I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say. Precious little. But I'm quite certain it can still be found. Aradin was convinced there was a hidden entrance in the Temple of Selûne. I'd start there. Those illithid creatures threaten the natural order. It's my duty to do what I can to stop them. There's also the Shadow Curse. It's an affront and must be cleansed. I helped overthrow Ketheric Thorm and his Dark Justiciars years ago, but I failed to prevent him from unleashing darkness across the region before he was defeated. If I can join you and get close to Moonrise, perhaps I can lift this curse, just as you find a cure for your infection. Well, there's hardly anyone left to share the responsibility with. Few who witnessed the fall of Moonrise still draw breath. What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can. I studied the Shadow Curse for years, but to truly understand it and stop it, I must reach its source. Precisely. Then perhaps I could have done something about both the Shadow Curse and Ceremorphosis aberrations. But in my eagerness, I put far too much faith in the abilities of Aradin and his band. We didn't even get close. Wonderfully. If I'm honest, the grove was too comfortable for my tastes. I felt removed from nature. I'll miss my books, but I can find all the wisdom they contain out here, firsthand. Is that so? Well, nature does abhor waste. I will keep watch, thank you. I had a feeling time in your company would prove fruitful.
My good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much.
Come on, then. Don't leave me in suspense. How are you feeling? No errant tentacles? No sudden cravings for a more cerebral diet? rather more curious to know what benefits the tadpole might have bestowed. No doubt the benefits of your change in diet will become apparent soon enough. Was there another matter you wish to discuss? The instructions were easy enough, weren't they? If slightly elaborate. I find that a healthy amount of theatrics, a voice from the beyond, a magic flute, a friendly, if highly combustible magma method, tends to make for a more compelling case. If nothing else, I'm sure I piqued your curiosity. Think of it as tribute. The kind a king might pay to a more powerful neighbor to avoid invasion. As long as I pay, there will be peace. But should I ever stop, along comes a war. I can assure you, the battlefield would extend well beyond the borders of my body alone. An eruption the size of Waterdeep, I think my exact words were. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mistra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. I know what it is to hunger. And I know what it takes to keep that hunger under control. He's done that so far, despite his condition. So long as he sates his appetite elsewhere, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Gone gods. Watching you consume that tadpole was more disgusting than the tadpole itself. Though, I suppose that's not what you wanted to talk about. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, they were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith. born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist. Brave as Baldur and stubborn as a deep Rothay. Daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and the talent for courtly dance. Yes and no. Father taught me the 4 pillars of power. Courage, insight, strategy, justice. He reckoned I'd follow in his footsteps. First as a fist marshal, then as a duke. Vanquish evil, maintain order, save the world. But a duke makes bedfellows with more monsters than he slays. Father called it diplomacy. I called it hypocrisy. In the frontiers, there is no posturing, no diplomacy. I slay monsters, I don't consort with them. Even if I might look like one. My father once said, one does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call. So it was for me. After my exile, I was hunting near the Cloakwood. I heard a child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. No, but he named me friend, and that meant the world. But what of the others? The children never saved, the cries never heard. In the boy's tears, I finally saw the suffering wrought by the villains of the wild. The frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded. And it's nice to meet someone of your talents. Having a worm wriggling in my skull didn't instill much confidence in the days ahead. With you as my ally, the future looks a little less daunting. He brings to mind a story. The Devil with the Silver Tongue. An old fairy tale my father read to me. The kind with a hero, a villain, and a moral. A farmer made a deal with the devil, so the story goes. In exchange for the farmer's dearest fruit, the devil granted him a bottomless coin purse. The farmer's dearest fruit, naturally, was no apple nor peach, but his beloved daughter. We can learn a lot from fairy tales, don't you think? Refuse him, no matter how tempting the offer, no matter how delicious the feast he lays out for you. The cost will be too great. That's because you still have hope. But when he becomes your last hope, remember this. He'll require of you only what you're least ready to part with, and then require more still. You might think you'd give up anything for a cure, but the devil won't take just anything. He'll take everything. I think that unknowable powers come with unknowable consequences. I can't say I'm not curious. But once you've taken a Lithid by the talon, there's no telling how deep into the abyss it might drag you. All right. What else is on your mind?
Fate spins along as it should. Dost thou require a new ally? Or mayhaps a resurrection instead? There are many answers to that question. None are important. Correct. No.